angels, it's Haley Reese, and today's video is going to be one of the eeriest videos I've ever filmed. I truly think this video is going to be, actually no, I know this video is going to be equally scary for you and I am nervous to film it, but I am also very, very excited, and I am bringing something different to the table for this video than I have done in any of my other videos. So many of you guys have been requesting that I read some scary stories from the internet. For those of you who are not new to my channel, you know that the paranormal, the haunted, and the eerie has followed me throughout my entire lifetime. So just reading any old made-up story doesn't really do it for me personally. However, reading extremely scary, terrifying, frightening, true paranormal stories from the internet will probably do it for me. For today's video, I'm going to sit back and read you guys some of the scariest, true paranormal stories that the internet has to offer. Before I get into this video and we all scare the living out of ourselves, I just want to say, if you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Haley. I would love it if you do enjoy my videos that you go ahead, click that subscribe button, join the Reese's Pieces family. I went ahead and searched the scariest true paranormal stories into Google, and I found a website that seems extremely reputable. I will leave the link down below, and it's basically where people submit their own paranormal crazy experiences and they get feedback from other people experiencing the same things. From my personal opinion, all of these seem extremely genuine and they seem extremely real. So I'm going to go ahead and read as many as I can to you guys. So without further ado, sit back, relax, maybe turn a light on, and let's get into this scary paranormal compilation. This one is titled, You Need to Go Outside. I used to live in a house that backs up onto a big public open space where there are hiking trails, lots of joggers, and people walking their dogs. Anyway, one night I had a kind of creepy dream that an old lady came into my room and was trying to get me to come outside. The dream woke me up, so I got some water, turned off my fan because it was cold, and then I fell asleep again. I went right back into the same dream with this old lady coming into my room and calmly saying, "You have to go outside now." I kept telling her no, it was too cold. I woke up again and my fan was on. I figured I must have thought I turned it off or the button got stuck, so I got up, turned the fan off, and went back to sleep. This time I had the exact same dream, except she was much older looking in this one and was really agitated. She was yelling, "Go outside! You must go outside!" I got up in the dream and followed her to the hallway. When I got into the hallway, she wasn't there, and then I woke up and I was actually standing in the hallway. I have never ever walked around in my sleep before or after this. Also, my fan was on when I went back into my room. At this point, I was freaked out, so I got something to eat and watched TV for a couple hours. I went back to bed around 5 or 6, and the dream did not come back. The messed up part is a couple of days later, I saw that there were police cars in the open space, and I asked my mom what happened. She said they had found an old lady who was reported missing a few days before. She must have had a heart attack or a stroke or something on the trail by my house, and they had found the body. Oh my goodness! Okay, if that happened to me, I would probably feel so guilty because I bet you she was in the process of dying and her spirit was coming trying to get him to find her dying body, and he never went outside to look. Like, I mean, it's not his fault by any means, but that is so eerie. Oh my goodness. I believe it. I believe it. What do you guys think? That is so eerie. Okay, here's another one. This one is titled, The Basement Door. When I was very young, we lived in a house that had the usual ghost activity, hearing footsteps, hushed voices in the next room, etc. But a really crazy thing was the basement door. It would open on its own. I'm not talking an inch or two when you close another door nearby. I mean, it would fully swing open like somebody was walking through it. My parents tried locking the door and it would still swing open on its own. By the time I was learning to walk, my dad was concerned I would fall down the stairs, so he went down into the basement and just said to no one in particular that he had a young daughter upstairs and could they please be careful with the door. Ever since then, the basement door would still open, but then it would slowly shut on its own. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that one is like an example of a ghost that is being considerate. That was pretty crazy, oh my goodness. This one's a little bit longer. It's called The Watering Hole. Here is my story that I post whenever someone asks this or something similar. My wife and I moved into my parents' house when my uncle died unexpectedly in 2009. They had to move in with my grandmother to take care of her, so we assumed ownership of my parents' house. Now this house had been the watering hole for my town back in the day. The well is in my basement. It is a hole in my basement floor covered by a 5-foot wide slate rock. This is important because our priest told us spirits can travel along waterways, which is why every time we bless the house, it is only calm for a few months before things start happening again. Anyways, we move into the house and everything is nice. Everything is calm and my wife, fiance at the time, and I are happy to be out of my sister's house. Once my wife gets pregnant, things kick into high gear. Her shoes go missing on a daily basis when every day she puts them in the same spot after work. One day, when she is in the attic, she heard a woman ask, "Is that my baby?" She said the woman sounded genuinely confused as to whose unborn baby she was pregnant with. Things kept escalating until one night when I was just about to turn the lights off and go to bed, and I see a black mass by my wife's bedside. It was pitch black and completely solid. Before I realized what I was looking at, my hand flipped the lights on and my sleeping wife immediately started speaking in what sounded like French. Since we took French in high school and college, we deduced what she was saying, "Je me suis," which means, I am myself. The next evening, we were at a play rehearsal for our local acting group and we were talking to our friend Rhonda. As we were talking with her about random bits of small talk, we noticed she seemed very distracted. She kept glancing quickly from side to side the way you would if you were watching a bug zigzag around a room. We asked, "What is going on?" And she said, I know this sounds crazy, but there's this black thing in the auditorium. Every time I look at it, it moves. I just can't get a fix on it." We freaked out and immediately tell her our story. We leave the auditorium and call a priest to have a blessing for the house. As he is blessing the house, he stops and does a double take at one of the crosses hanging on the wall. After the blessing is over, he asks about it. My wife says, "It is beautiful," and it called to her. She just had to have it, she said. He leaned back and said, "That's interesting. It's a Benedictine crucifix." We reply with, okay. And he continues to say, "Benedictine crucifixes are used in exorcisms. It is very interesting this crucifix called to you so strongly." And that's the end. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to think of that one. That is so eerie. I think maybe he was insinuating there's some sort of possession about to take place with her. I don't know. That was eerie. This next one is called 2 Bullets. I was a rookie cop when my brother committed suicide. He was one of my older siblings, but we were very close. He died in another state, and I had a lot of guilt then about not recognizing the signs. His remains were in bad shape by the time he was discovered, so it was a closed coffin service. About a week after he died, I was back at work one night, and my partner and I see a pimp pistol whipping one of his girls. I jump out and the pimp sees me, and the foot chase was on. I was running after him, gun in hand, and he cuts through a narrow corridor under a building that leads to a courtyard in the middle. Right before I reach the courtyard, I hear, "It's okay," in my dead brother's voice. I hit the courtyard and the guy is against the side pointing the gun at my head and squeezes the trigger twice. I froze for a millisecond and then started beating him in the head with my revolver. Till this day, I don't know why I didn't just shoot him, cuff him, and walk back to the street to find my partner. I tell my partner about him squeezing the trigger but not the voice I heard. We unload the gun, a .32 revolver, right there, and 2 bullets have strike marks on them. We take the gun to the lab for testing, tell the tech the story. He puts the 2 bullets with the strike marks back in and shoots into the test tank. Both bullets fired. That just gave me actual goosebumps, you guys! Oh my goodness, I bet you his brother was the reason that gun didn't shoot. I honestly, truly believe that his brother stopped that gun from being able to shoot him. That is so Crazy. This one is called Standing Guard. We used to live in a battered women's and children's shelter when I was young, because my father was looking for us. One night I looked in the mirror and saw a kind-looking man that I can only describe as a ghost appeared at the end of the bed. He was there all night, but gone when I woke up in the morning. Then the next night, then the next night, and the next night. He was there every night for 4 months. We never talked, he never moved, just stood guard. One night he woke me up from my sleep, and I will never forget how surprised I was, because I'd never seen him move or talk. He said, "He's coming. Get out now." So we packed up the car and left to a hotel for the night. The next morning we went back to find someone had broken in and gone room to room looking for someone. I never saw him again after that. I believe that. I think maybe though that it wasn't like a ghost of the shelter. I think it was probably his guardian angel or something. The final story that I'm going to conclude on, I have not read any of these either, by the way, is called The Night the Devil Visited. Oh, I'm so nervous. Thank goodness it's not like completely dark out when I'm filming this. The story I'm about to tell you is true. It happened to my mother in 1959 in upstate New York. My mother was raised in a very strict She had 7 brothers and sisters. As all families did back then, my mother was required to attend church 3 times a week. My grandfather was a very religious man. One Sunday night, my Aunt Janet asked permission to attend a Catholic church with a friend that she had spent the night with. My grandmother gave her permission, figuring it would give her a little more insight into God. My aunt attended Mass with her friend. While she was there, she saw the floating candles at the church lights to honor the dead. Well, as you may be able to guess, she took one and brought it home with her. She lit the candle, put it on the vanity table near the window in the room she shared with my mother. My grandmother called them down for Sunday dinner. While they were all eating, all of a sudden all they could smell was smoke. Apparently the wind had blown the curtains and the candle had caught them on fire. The fire was horrific. It practically destroyed the room. My grandfather, being the man he was, made everyone work to redo the room that day, paint and all. At the end of the day, there was only one thing left to be done, which was to replace the window in the room, and that could not be done until the following day. Back then, everything was closed on Sunday. My mother and her sisters had pushed their beds together that night and made one big bed. The moon was full, so they could see fairly well in the dark. At around 3 a.m., my mother woke to a snarling sound coming from somewhere in her room. She said she almost felt paralyzed. As she started to open her eyes, she could see this black, gargoyle-looking thing standing at the end of her bed with these evil eyes staring at her. She could see his snarling teeth. She could feel the heat of his breath on her skin. She was so terrified she could not move. She said it looked at her like, "I know you can see me." She laid there the rest of the night staring at this thing at the end of her bed until sunrise. As the sun started to come up, it flew out the open window. My mother jumped out of bed as if she noticed these strange hoof prints. My mother jumped out of bed, and as she did, she noticed these strange hoof prints made out of soot on the floor. As she walked from her room, there were more going in the hall towards her brother's room. She was too frightened to say anything to her family, afraid they would think she was crazy. 20 years later, we had a family reunion with all of my relatives, and they started talking about the fire. My Aunt Linda says, "Did you guys see what I saw that night?" And the look on my mom and Aunt Janet's face said it all. My Uncle Bobby said he thought it was just a dream, but apparently not. It is a lesson to be learned that if you steal candles from the Catholic Church that are meant for the honoring of the dead, it is a sin, and you may get a visit from the devil. And by the way, 3 days later, my grandmother all of a sudden died from a heart attack. She had no previous history of heart disease or problems. She was 36 years old. I know it may seem hard to believe, but this really happened. It has made my family realize that there is a heaven and a hell, and what you do comes back to you. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to anything. You guys know this. I believe in a heaven. I believe in a hell. I believe in good and bad and God and the devil. However, if you guys have watched my Devil Came for My Uncle video, my uncle said that the devil came to him dressed as an extremely handsome, well-attractive, well-spoken man. With that being said, though, the devil can come to you in any way, shape, or form. That is what makes him so deceitful. That is what makes him so feared, because he can come to you as what is most appealing to you or what is most frightening to you. I don't know if I believe that if you steal from the Catholic Church, the devil comes to visit, but I am not one to judge any story. Whoever wrote this seems to think that this is very true. You could tell it from the state of writing, and it's definitely something very, very eerie. I've personally never thought of the devil as something with hoofs and snarling teeth. With that being said, though, maybe he came at this family in a way that would be most frightening to them. So I'm not sure. It's interesting, to say the least. Well, you guys, I could read these true paranormal scary stories from the internet all day. If you would like to see a part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many you would like to see, please leave a comment down below letting me know that you enjoyed today's video and that you would like me to read some more eerie stories from the internet. With that being said, I have a ton of my own creepy, haunted, paranormal, eerie stories coming this week, along with some crazy story times and just some one-on-one talking with you guys. I love making these videos for you guys. It means the world to me, and I love that no matter what, whether you believe it or you don't, you guys are so extremely open-minded when it comes to me telling these stories, and you are nothing but supportive even if you do not believe what is being told to you, and that is freaking amazing. That is what makes you guys so awesome, and that is the type of energy the world needs, because people are always going to feed you things that you may not always believe. Hey, today I was on the other side listening to other people's experiences, and some of them I believe and some of them I'm like, I don't know if I believe that. But that's how you guys are when you hear my stories, and I know that my stories are the truth. So I have to take these stories for what they are and decide for my own self if I believe them or not. That does not mean that I throw hate, and I thank all of you guys who do not throw hate at me even if you don't believe my story. I love you guys so sincerely. You guys are awesome. And I'm so eternally grateful for all of your kindness and support. With that being said, if you are new to my channel or you have just not yet clicked the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that. We are a growing family. I am so thankful for each and every one of you, and I would love it. So if you did enjoy today's video or you enjoy any of my other videos, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. And while we are on that note, if you did enjoy today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. Like I always say, it makes my heart super happy when you guys do that, so please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, love you!